Good. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
I think everybody's getting connected slowly but surely. We're seeing some microphones pop up.
Okay. I can see Lanos, I can see Gary, I can see Habib. Hi, everyone. Welcome. There's a lot more than us.
Is this
Welcome,
the first
everybody.
decentralized Athens meetup? And this is probably also the first decentralized
Yeah.
meetup.
That is true. That is also true.
I want to make sure that everybody can hear us and see
Right.
us.
Let me check really quick if, okay, we are very good with YouTube live as well.
YouTube is good.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Hi, guys.
Hi there.
I'm
Hello.
Chris from Athens.
Welcome.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Welcome, Chris. I'm Stavros.
Nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you too.
We're giving everybody some time to join in.
Yep.
Starting up in like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Hello, Christophoros.
Hi, can you repeat? Just plugged the earphones.
How's everybody's day today?
Good, good.
The home prison, I suppose, for everyone.
You can say that.
There's a difference between prison
In a sense,
and
yeah.
right? There's the thickness of the walls.
Yeah, it is how you feel always.
All right. Well, the format we're going to start with for the next 10, 12 minutes or so is that we'll allow everybody to open up the microphones and just say hi and do some general kind of networking. And what we'll do after that is we'll mute everybody's microphone except for the host. And the host will have control of the event. Dimitris will begin the event and hand over control to the speakers as they speak. Dimitris will give us further instructions on how we can pose questions, and I can jump in whenever you guys need me to. But welcome. Please use this time to get to know each other.
So yeah, with that in mind, everybody, thank you for coming. My name is Xenofon. I'm going to be one of the speakers here. I work with Dimitris and Lambis to set up the Athens Decentralized chapter. There's a few projects that are coming up during the quarantine and after the quarantine. Hopefully that's very soon. That's pretty much it from me, but I want to hear more from you guys. Dimitris and Lambis, do you want to have a quick introduction, or do you want to have the guests speak first?
I would just like to welcome everybody. When we started this live session, we didn't know what we expect, but we've seen great interest in an introductory talk on the fundamentals of cryptos. So I would like to hear more from you. What's your background? What's your level of expertise with cryptos? And before this, let's hand it off to Dimitris.
Just to make sure you guys can hear me perfectly, right?
We hear you.
Very good.
Okay,
Yes, you can.
great. Why not take advantage of this pre-session and whoever is on Zoom or YouTube, please let us know where are you from. Because this started as an Athens/Greek event, but it turned out to be something more international, and we are very happy to hear that.
Shall I start?
By all means, yeah.
Go ahead.
First, so go for it.
So my name is Habib Maroon. I'm Lebanese, and actually now I'm stuck in Limassol. I have a lot of interest for crypto, and I knew about the chapter because I was registering with the University of Nicosia. That's it basically about me. And I think with what's happening now in the world, and mainly in Lebanon, I don't know if you follow what's happening in Lebanon. I think that there is more and more need for everything to be decentralized going forward, guys.
That's great, fantastic.
I guess you are mainly, all of you are in Greece or from everywhere?
Me, Xenofon, Lambis, and Stavros, who is our co-host from Cube, are in Greece. And we have many participants from Greece as well, because this is where it all started. But I really have no idea where everyone else is from, because people started to share the link to each other, and yeah, I'm gonna just learn at the same time with you where everyone is from. To be honest, let's check a little bit the YouTube as well.
Quick question. When you were joining, guys, did they ask for a password?
No, there was no request for password. No password.
No request for a password. No.
Yeah, I clicked
So
on the link.
if you joined from the link, the password would be included in the link.
Exactly.
If you join with only the meeting number, that is when it will ask you for a password.
Do we know which password that is?
It's CryptoCube, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I gotta just make sure everybody
Xenofon,
knows.
we need to talk about security.
Yeah.
Just giving a password like that out in the air like that.
Okay, Dixero, unfortunately some people are having issues joining. We've emailed this out, right, Stavros? I know we have. Just want to double make sure that everybody has it.
I'm not familiar with Zoom much, but is there a limitation on the number of participants or no?
Yes, but it's closer to 100 people than it is to 20, 30 people.
Yeah, so we are far away from reaching that capacity.
I see Yianis here, perfect. Yianis, hi Yianis. Yianis is one of the speakers. He just joined.
So I see that we have people from really all over the globe. It's from Italy, Australia, Trinidad, Hong Kong, Cyprus, Amsterdam, Mexico. Fantastic. This is really great. And in less than 5 minutes, we are gonna start this.
And Dimitris, we have 60 people on the YouTube channel right now.
Mm-hmm. 64 at the moment. Stavro, do you think that it would be better to add just another 5 minutes because
Of wait time.
Yeah, of waiting
I'm
time,
happy to do that.
because people don't know about the pre-session. So I suppose that everyone is gonna try and log in exactly at 3 o'clock.
Sure.
Okay.
If you guys like, I can actually share the, or we can ask the people on the chat if they need, if they would like to get into the Zoom room as well. That's we can share the invitation if they like. And one other thing I can share, sorry, Lambis, Dimitris, one thing I can also suggest for you, if you're going to be helping me moderate in the YouTube comments, that you lower your YouTube resolution to as low as possible, so we don't
Right.
download. Okay. I'm wondering where Gregory is. He's walking in the dark there.
Hi guys.
Some other time zone.
Yeah, I'm speaking from Melbourne, Australia,
Hello, Gregory.
and it's kind of late here.
What time is it there?
Well, it's about 10 o'clock. Yep, it's 10.
Okay.
It's great having you.
Australia is sleeping this time, so I went to a park nearby my house, and so I could talk.
Fantastic. Well, welcome, Gregory.
Stavro, I'm just admitting people as well from the waiting room. Okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure. Please do. Welcome, Paul Morrissey.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm looking forward to this.
Where are you located, Paul?
I'm in Liverpool, England.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I did the first module of your crypto masters a couple of years ago.
Did you like it?
Oh, it was great. I just haven't got enough time. I'm a professor of mathematics at Liverpool University.
I see. Well, you probably enjoy the cryptography quite a lot more than some other people then. Okay.
Paul, you will never walk alone.
Never walk alone. You're absolutely right. Except in coronavirus country.
Yeah, well. Yeah. So we are waiting 4 more minutes. Let's see if we can get everybody in. I know people are joining more and more. After that, I'm going to do the quick introduction, and then we'll move forward to the DAO, then the intro to trading, and then Q&A throughout these sessions. I'm telling that to people that just joined. So 3 more minutes and we'll start.
Yep.
76 people in the YouTube channel right now. Let's say hello to Gasho from Ethiopia. New to cryptocurrency trading. Oh, not cryptocurrency, not so much trading. Hello from Marcos in Brazil. Hello from Nick in Dublin. This is a truly international event. Jube from Malaysia. Fantastic. We didn't expect this, did we?
We didn't. I think that when we set off to do this, we thought it would be more of, of a closed space or local, but people seem to have a lot of interest in the fundamentals of cryptos. And of course, I want to say this again, this is going to be a discussion on the fundamentals. If you're super advanced, I'm pretty sure that there's something that you can get out of it. But for the most part, we are going over the basics of cryptos.
Right, that's correct, Lambis. I think that the virus and the quarantine that we all are in this moment help into this live session. It's the recent trend of last days, these kind of sessions. And to be honest, if we were not live, we would not have the chance to have all these people from all around the world. So
this is something to possibly probably do again in the near future and have as a recurring event, teach people about things, because this will be, we're talking about a paradigm shift in pretty much everything around us if we embrace decentralized technologies. And it is not that easy to get access to valuable information. So I think it is our duty, and it's the duty of people that possess some knowledge, to share it with the others to the best of their ability. And this is what we are going to be trying out today. And hopefully, if you like it, in the future as well.
Yeah, sounds great.
Lovely, and we would love your feedback. So I think it's we have close to 100 people on YouTube. We have 34 people on here. I think it's time to start it. I don't know if you guys agree or not.
Let's go.
Yeah,
okay,
we could.
Let's go.
Lovely. Let me just start presenting. Do I have?
So Dimitri, you're moderating, and you have the control now. I would suggest that you mute all speakers, and then unmute people as they either raise their hand or it's their turn to speak if they're presenting.
Correct.
So that we can save anybody from any background noise that might be coming in.
By all means.
I'll mute my microphone now, and good luck,
I'm having an issue with presenting for some reason.
I'm gonna unmute you, Xenofon, when it's time. Okay, so I have muted everyone so as we don't have any unnecessary interruptions. Let's get this quarantine crypto party started. So my name is Dimitris Provatas. Let me also share some contact details so as you have them in the background. Give me a second. So this is me. I am an economist. Some years ago, basically during October 2017, I founded Cryptoschool, which is the first Greek blockchain Telegram community. Telegram, for those that are not aware, is a chat platform like WhatsApp and other platforms. And the trend is to have people communicate through this platform regarding blockchain and cryptocurrency issues. So I saw the need to make together, let's say, the crypto community, and this is the reason I started this group. But since then, we are, if I'm not, a little bit less than 600 members, all Greek, and we discuss every day news, the technology of blockchain, and we keep to each other very, very good company. We are like a small Greek family over there. At the same time, the University of Nicosia, and specifically Decentralized, which I'm going to thank in a little bit, proposed to me to be the leader of Decentralized Athens chapter. And of course, I was more than glad to accept this. And since then, we got also on board Xenofon that he's gonna have a presentation in a little while, and Lambis as well, who is gonna have the second session of this meeting. So community-wise, this is my involvement in blockchain. At the same time, by the way, Stavro, can you help me out, because I'm speaking right now, to admit the people that are waiting in the room? So I was saying that
I'll jump in and do that right now.
Yeah, thanks, Stavro. So other than that, I am also co-founder of a marketing agency called Core, and we are working mainly with blockchain projects at the space. We do marketing and general advisory for them at their first steps of the crypto journey, let's say. You can also find some contact details under this, and at the end some useful links. Just to let you know, just recently we started also the global community of Cryptoschool, because we saw the need that there are people out there that don't speak Greek, and so they cannot join the original room. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. And now that some time has passed and I feel that we are more people in this room, let me just stop sharing this so that you can see me. Okay, great. I would like to thank the Cube Athens for being co-hosts in this very, very nice event. And of course, I would also like to thank the University of Nicosia, not only for giving us the power through the Decentralized Athens chapter to have this kind of actions, but also because they took the initiative to forward the link to all of its members. And this may be the reason that you are aware of this event and you are with us at the very moment. Stavro, can you please introduce yourself and say some words about the Cube Athens, please?
Of course, Dimitris. So thank you very, very much for that. It's an honor and a privilege, and we're really happy to be involved with this. We met with the people from Decentralized several years ago when they ran their first event in Athens, and it's a fantastic community. We've run a number of meetups at the Cube, and it's, if you like, one of the spaces in Athens that hosts a lot of technology meetups and a lot of technology startups. And it's wonderful to be involved. And I wish that I'm looking forward to learning quite a lot during this session. And I wish that you all have a great session. So over back to you, Dimitris, and good luck to everyone.
Fantastic. And as we mentioned, thank you very much, Stavro. As we mentioned earlier, this is a very, very introductory course. Course is not the right word, but we have very, very basic information. So as to trigger you, for those that are not familiar with blockchain, so as to trigger you to do some more digging in the near future, because the issue that we face is that people have heard about blockchain and internet magic money like Bitcoin, but they don't actually know what this is about, and they don't actually know what blockchain is, which for me, outside of Bitcoin, which is a fantastic technological advancement and something that may, and I think will play a significant role in the future of our economical lives. But other than Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies, the thing here is that blockchain is here to stay because it is a technology with so many applications in real life. And it has solved one issue that humanity was facing from the very start, which was trust. So nowadays we can do things differently and more efficiently. Sorry. Regarding introduction, I don't think that I have something else to say. So Xenofon, I suppose that we could start. Please introduce yourself at the start and let's get the ball rolling.
Lovely. Well, Dimitris, thank you for the introduction. Stavros, thank you for having us. Unique and everybody else for joining us. I wish you the best of health, and I hope you guys enjoy the presentation. I'm still having some issues sharing my screen, Dimitris and Stavros. If you can get me to be a moderator for a second. There we are. Perfect. So, as we were saying, again, thank you everyone for joining. My name is Xenofon Kontouris. I've been in startups since 2013, early 2014, and in crypto since around that time, but more so since closer to 2017 when the big peak and boom happened. I have my own startup in New York. I have a couple of entrepreneurial businesses in Greece, and I research and I study cryptocurrencies and stablecoins specifically. I'm going to be giving you a quick introduction on blockchain and cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. So I think we'll just simply start. If I am going a bit too fast, please don't hesitate to raise your hand and mention it, because I want to make sure that everybody understands what we're talking about. Again, this is introduction to cryptocurrencies with Decentralized Athens, the Athens chapter of Decentralized and the Cube Athens, as well as Cryptoschool. And we can start from 2009. That's what most people think is the start of Bitcoin, which is the Bitcoin genesis.
Xenofon, huge favor. Okay, because yeah, the thing is that you have a very nice accent and you tend to speak very fast. Can you possibly slow down a little bit more?
Of course.
Yeah, thanks.
So 2009 is when Bitcoin theoretically started. But for you to understand this concept, you need to go a little bit further back. However, with 2009, we have the first decentralized, permissionless, censorship-resistant, and public digital currency. It was the introduction of blockchain technology, and since then, theoretically, the best investment in history. However, there are some drawbacks, and we will explain where they come from and why they exist. Sometimes Bitcoin can be slow, oftentimes it can be expensive, and its volatility and unpredictability is something that limits its potential adoption in many cases. So what really is this magic internet money, and where did it come from? How did it come about? So everything really starts from the cypherpunk. The cypherpunks was a movement of internet activists that started in the late 80s and blossomed in the early 90s that was composed by coders, mathematicians, with a more anarchist twist, one would say. Their goals was privacy of communications, anonymity and pseudonymity, counter-censorship and counter-monitoring, hiding the act of hiding within the protocol, and establishing a web-wide encryption protocol, which would allow for what we have today, which is encryption. Back in the day, we had something called the encryption wars, which was these activists versus governments on how these policies for encryption should be done. The main concept is that there is complete distrust towards government and corporations to protect internet users and internet freedom, and they took it upon themselves to use cryptography and mathematics to make sure that their dream of the internet can become a reality. And this is when they first gained notoriety, publicity in May and June of 1993. One of the three gentlemen here is Eric Hughes, who wrote and authored the first.
I'm getting some comments that you need to slow down a little bit.
Sure thing. Again, this is the first time that cypherpunks were able to get the public attention. These were the three authors of the Cypherpunk Manifesto, and they started a movement that continued towards Bitcoin, which we will talk about just now. So everything really started for Bitcoin in October 31st, 2008. That was the first time that Bitcoin, the white paper was launched through a mailing list, which composed many of the people that were in the cypherpunk movement, as well as computer scientists and cryptographers. The network was produced in late 2008 by unknown members, which used the name Satoshi Nakamoto. We still don't know who these people are, if it was one person or many people. It is still a big debate in the community. And the first block was issued in January 3rd, 2009. Another crucial date that you need to understand about the origin of Bitcoin is the Pizza Day, which is on May 22nd every year. And it's a celebration of the first transaction, commercial transaction that involved Bitcoin. As many of you guys might have heard of this, once upon a time, somebody paid 10,000 BTC for two large Papa John's pizzas, which sounds absurd thinking about it in today's prices, and especially during the peak of 2017. However, it was the first time anyone had accepted Bitcoin or digital currency, cryptocurrency specifically, for a commercial transaction. An ode to their anarchist in quotations past comes from a little Easter egg that's within the first transaction, in the first block within Bitcoin. And that is the headline of the Times, which quotes that Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks, which was on January 3rd, 2009, when the first block was issued. So, what exactly is Bitcoin? Well, first of all, it's digital, which means that it exists on the internet, on your wallet, which can be on any electronic device, and you can access it as soon as you have access to the web. It's decentralized. There is no sole authority that controls what gets in the ledger as transaction, who can use it, who can accept it, and what you can do with it. It's permissionless because anyone can use it, anyone can accept it. It is, in other words, unstoppable money. It is trustless. It doesn't need any third party, be it a bank or a government or somebody else that you might trust, to work, to make it work, and to make the process of settlement work within the blockchain. And it's limited supply. It has no inflation or monetary policy, which is a big debate, but it's also one of the biggest benefits for many people that use Bitcoin. And it's also pseudonymous. The identity of the wallet holder is hidden. It's not anonymous. They can find you as long as you make a transaction towards fiat and with your ID involved in that transaction. However, it is pseudonymous. You can still protect your identity much better than you can in other situations. And Bitcoin works because of the blockchain. And in this slide, I talk about blockchain and DLT. DLT stands for Decentralized Ledger Technology. Blockchain is part of DLT, but it's a specific subsection. Blockchain is, in the Bitcoin case, is it's Byzantine fault tolerance, which is the way that it reaches consensus on transactions, is called Nakamoto consensus. It works with mining new blocks, which pretty much means that you solve really difficult mathematics that take a lot of energy and time to make sure that if you do falsify information within a block, we can find out who you are and we can kick you off the network, which means that the benefit of falsifying transactions and data is much lower and much more expensive than actually working for the system. This allows any untrusted party to work with each other and make sure that consensus is reached on the blockchain. For people that don't understand this yet, which I understand because it's quite complex, think of the blockchain as a notebook. You have a notebook which each new line within a page is a transaction, each new page is a block. The whole notebook together is the blockchain, and miners are the authors of the notebook. They don't know each other, but they have figured out a way through math and cryptography to reach consensus and work together without knowing or trusting each other. The miners are quite decentralized. You might have heard about this. There's a lot of miners in China, a lot of miners throughout Asia, a ton of miners in America and North America, a lot in South America, and a few in Africa and Europe. And each miner competes with each other, trying to solve these mathematical functions called hash functions to find this one solution which is unique and will allow them to make a new page and get a benefit from both the transaction fees and the reward of making this new page, this new block. And really that idea, the idea of unstoppable money and of mathematics working within the blockchain led to unstoppable code, which is what many people have heard of through Ethereum. Ethereum was introduced in 2004. It is blockchain 2.0, you could say. Besides simply adding transaction data on each transaction on the blockchain, you could also add scripting data that can be used to execute autonomous code. And that's the main concept behind Ethereum. You have, as I said before, a notebook with each new page being a new block and each transaction being a new line within that notebook. Now you can add code within that line, and that can work and lead to automated code. So the basics of Ethereum, and these are quite basic stuff, is that it has a native token called Ether. It has a virtual machine called the Ethereum virtual machine, which executes the code of transactions. The computational fees are paid in Ether, which is also called gas. Automated programs can run through smart contracts. Smart contracts are where the code is stored within wallets within the Ethereum blockchain, which collect the scripting data and charge you fees. And these smart contracts can oftentimes use unique tokens, which can be sold in the crypto markets. That was the main concept behind ICOs. ICOs are called initial coin offerings. You can also hear it as initial token offerings. It's a complex subject which I'm happy to answer more in the future, but the main idea is that you can tokenize these smart contracts and the use of these smart contracts and sell them to the market, which means that you can sell the tokens before you build the smart contract, so you can have enough money to build the smart contract, which revolutionizes the way of fundraising. However, as I said before in the first page, there are drawbacks. There is a trilemma here. You need to pick 2 out of 3. You can have security and scalability, but not decentralization in many cases. You can have decentralization and scalability, but not as much security. You can have security and decentralization, but not as much scalability. What this means is that for open systems like the Bitcoin blockchain, the bigger the system becomes and the more transactions it needs to get, the more math and computational time needs to be spent to make sure that these things are secure. So there is no perfect solution yet. There is a trilemma, and that trilemma will continue until there are some breakthroughs in cryptography and in computer science, which a lot of brilliant people are working on. For you guys to understand this a bit more, think about this in 3 levels, right? You have centralization on the left, which is the way that most traditional enterprises work, where there's one boss, one decision maker, and everything works as a ladder. You have completely distributed systems on the right, which is the perfect world where every participant can talk with any other participants without needing for any part of the centralization. And then you have decentralized systems, which combine a bit of both. It allows for nodes to help communicate with the local users, and these nodes themselves work with some other nodes. And there is the Goldilocks zone between centralization and distributed computing, which is decentralization. And that's what the blockchain really brought into fruition. So again, what are the benefits of owning cryptocurrency? Well, first of all, you are the complete owner of these assets. There is nobody that can take them away from you as long as you don't get hacked, or as long as you don't send them away by mistake. It's quite speedy and easy to use. It's not always super fast, it's not always super easy, but As long as you get to learn the basics and you get to use it a couple of times, you will see that it's faster than legacy markets and, for example, wiring money. It has tremendous potential returns on investment if you find a project that you like and you believe you have growth potential, and you get to own a part of that project through the token, and you can access these innovative applications before many other people have seen them. So you are in the cusp of innovation, as well as a few other benefits, which there's a lot of benefits in using them. That's why many people are excited to use cryptocurrencies. However, there are some shortcomings as well. Irreversibility for lost and stolen funds is one of the biggest issues. It's not like having a bank where you can call them and complain for fraud and they will help you get your money back after you lose your keys or your cryptos you've lost on crypto. People gotta hope that the person will send them back to you, but that I don't think that happens very often. And it gives you complete personal responsibility over what you do with your funds, which I understand in some demographics that might be quite hard, especially if you're older and not as technically adept as other people. You know, it's a double-edged sword. You have both the benefits and the shortcomings, and it's also quite volatile. It might lose its value within a couple of hours. It might increase in value within a couple of hours, which causes a flurry of other problems which are more economical. And I don't really want to get into this during the introduction of crypto. And a few other things that you need to know is that when you have crypto, you can store them in wallets. When we say wallets, we're talking about programs in most cases. There are many different types of wallets. Some of them are hardware wallets are like USB sticks that are there to store your crypto, and then you can remove them and hide them. There are software wallets, which can be desktop and mobile. Some of these examples are Exodus, Koinomi, which is a Greek project, which I recommend you guys check out, Electrum, and a few more. There are online wallets, which are a bit riskier. Coinbase, I see that I made a mistake here, I changed afterwards, is one of the biggest exchanges that also is a custodian of many people's crypto assets. Blockchain.info and more, as well as offline, which is the safest bet, really, is when you store your seed phrase, pretty much your private key to your money on a piece of paper, which nobody can ever hack or you can never lose as long as you have it somewhere that's safe. Also, it's important to mention exchanges. Exchanges is where you can buy crypto or exchange crypto for other cryptocurrencies. There are centralized exchanges which are controlled by a trusted third party, which increases risk, but they're much easier to use and have much more liquidity, like Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Binance, and Bitfinex. You have decentralized networks like Kyber Network and Uniswap, which are exchanges that allow you to keep hold of your crypto while exchanging them for other crypto. They're offline, face-to-face exchanges like local Bitcoin, where you go and meet somebody that has Bitcoin and you can give them cash or a check and get the crypto yourself. Wall of Coins is another good example where you can just simply go to a bank, give the money to an account at the bank teller, and then the person is going to send you the Bitcoin to your address. And of course, there are ATMs. ATM is like any other ATM where you can go and spend your crypto and get cash, or you can use cash to get crypto, and many other options, which I really can't get to all of them. There are also many different projects out there, and this is just some of the top 13 projects, top 30 projects, excuse me. You might have heard some like Libra, which had a pretty big publicity boost happen mid last year. They're with Facebook. You have Ripple, you have, which is the third largest cryptocurrency after Ethereum and Bitcoin. You have a few more, which I'm more than happy to go into in the question section, but for now I'm just going to move forward. And lastly, there is a couple of very interesting links and resources which I recommend to you. The Bitcoin white paper is a great starting point, which I recommend anyone to read. You can find it on bitcoin.org. There's CoinMarketCap, where you can find out more information and the price and performance of crypto assets. You have Telegram groups like the one that Dimitris mentioned, which I do recommend that you guys join. Better yet, if you can download Telegram if you don't have it while this presentation is going on, we'll be able to help you set everything up and have a flow of information coming in that may keep you in the loop. as well as the unique MOOC. A lot of people here are from University of Nicosia or were brought by University of Nicosia. The massive online open course is a great resource for beginning. We also have Mr. Antonopoulos, who is one of the biggest speakers in the crypto space and has written some of the best resources out there. I recommend you check out his website, as well as Jameson's Law, Bitcoin Resources, and Bitcoin Talk, which are great places to find forums and ask questions about this technology and this ecosystem, as well as the Tech Trans videos, which is a series of 6 videos on trust. And they're from 2016, but they do a very, very good job, although a bit outdated, to explain to you the players and the motivations within this space. So with that, I thank you. I hope I didn't speak too fast. If you guys need to reach me anywhere, please feel free to do so on Telegram or on LinkedIn. You have my email here as well. And now I would like to open it up for any questions that you may have.
Yes, guys, please go ahead and write some questions that you may have. We're gonna have a small QA session after each presentation, let's say.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm just gonna leave it here because I like this slide.
By all means, Xenofon.
So yeah, any questions? Anybody wants to ask me anything?
Can I ask the first question?
Go ahead, please.
I'm Chris. I would like to ask just a simple question, try to understand. I want you to give me an example and define decentralized, since every data will be, let's say, on the cloud, on servers, and can't be tracked down.
Can you please expand on the question again, because I didn't understand it 100%.
I'm more concerned about my question targets to, let's say, security issues or privacy issues.
Okay, so this is a bit more technical of a question, right?
Can I make a small comment? Because I know Christopher and we have made some discussions as well. I would just want to take this opportunity, not only for Christopoulos, of course I'm gonna let Xenofon explain it in more detail, but for everyone out there, it is really, really essential first to understand what this is all about. And I'm saying that because, for example, Christopoulos, you said the information is on the cloud, which for me, it is not accurate because we are not talking about a cloud. Yes, a cloud could be attacked and someone could steal the information that it's there because clouds are centralized. And blockchain is the complete opposite of cloud, is decentralization. So through decentralization, what we accomplish is security. So someone cannot change, let's say, the information stored. Now, what information are you going to store? This is a completely different story. Okay, this is why we have so many blockchains out there, and as we speak, more and more are getting finalized, let's say, and developed. So yeah, this is my small input. Just that, you know, this is not a cloud. Blockchain is totally different.
I know, that's why I said, let's say, on the cloud. I know it's not, but
yeah, it's by all means it's public. Whatever is in,
yeah.
This is the good about blockchain. It is completely public.
Well, not always, but many times, right?
Yeah.
So when I think of security within these systems, I'm thinking more of personal security, not the actual infrastructure of a project, right? And that's why I was confused, because when it comes to security and privacy, It's mostly what you do with the systems that they're given. For you to be secure, you need to make sure that your keys are your keys. You need to make sure that you have secure internet connection when accessing the blockchain and when interacting with these cryptocurrency tokens. However, security within these platforms comes in many cases from decentralization, from the cryptography behind them. Now, I don't really want to get into the cryptographic setup of each project because that's a very technical discussion, and I don't even feel comfortable talking about this. I'm not a cryptographer myself. However, know that being around for 10 years already with track record, especially projects like Bitcoin, are quite secure. And if you want to add data, you don't do it on the blockchain. You do it through hashing a link or hashing the actual data and then setting that in a transaction. IFPS, right? IPFS. What is the actual? I forget the name of an actual server that is used by many of these projects. That's where you can actually have your data, like Filecoin, for example, and you can send and make sure that they are secure by hashing them, which means making sure that nothing is changed. And through that, you can verify that the data that you have or you want to share through the blockchain are the data that you need and expected to share on the blockchain. I don't know if that answers your question 100%. I am more than happy to have a follow-up call with you and actually talk about specific projects if I can help. But yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Okay, in a way, yes, thank you.
And yeah, guys, because this is, we have some limited time. I mean, we are all at our homes. We don't have anywhere to go. So we can stretch the time frame a little bit of this webinar, of this session. However, there are some more questions here, Xenofon. Let me pick some, like Antonio asks, which is the main difference between centralized and decentralized exchanges? Is there a QYC, which by the way stands for Know Your Customer, also for decentralized exchange?
Okay, so I see two questions. I see one from Stavros that was sent to me privately, and I see one from Antonio. Thank you both. I'm going to answer Antonio's question first. Well, centralized exchanges are servers that are controlled by a single company, which means like Mt. Gox, which means that they can perform many transactions, have a lot more liquidity than decentralized exchanges. However, there is a certain amount of risk of what will happen when and if they get hacked. And that has happened. And I mentioned Mt. Gox specifically because it was the #1 exchange in the world in 2013 when it got hacked, and millions and millions of dollars worth of crypto were lost. Decentralized exchanges are built within decentralized systems to not have these centralized authority figures on top of them. It means that you can work directly through cross-chain swaps. You can work directly through the technology to make sure that your crypto is exchanged with other crypto without passing through an intermediary's wallet, which is what centralized exchanges are in many cases. And KYC does exist in some decentralized exchanges. We call them DEXs. It does exist in some DEXs, but not in all of them. For centralized exchanges, KYC is pretty much mandatory at this point, and AML, anti-money laundering. But if I remember correctly, I think for Kyber Network, there is KYC. There are also other systems like with BISC. BISC is another DEX where it gradually increases your ability to spend money. The more you use the DEX, the more allocation and more allowance of funds you can manage and take out of they give you. So yeah, there are some KYC tactics. There is some KYC, but there are many that don't have KYC, like Uniswap, which I love as a project. It's so good. I recommend anyone to use it. And then I also see a question from Stavros. You guys can probably see it. I have it on my screen. The question is tokens and ICO, and we've talked about tokenization a little bit, but not too much. So when something is tokenized is pretty much when you find ways to create a token that represents the value or a part of the value of a project or an asset. And that asset can be any asset, from a car to real estate to a painting to even personal time. There are people out there doing personal ICOs, selling tokens for their own time. But in more practical ways, I want to talk a little bit about research, about real estate, excuse me. Let's assume that I have a house which I can find its value only after I sell it on the market. By creating 100 tokens that divide the value of the real estate by 100 and exchange them within exchanges, I can track the amount of value of the house by the value of each token times 100, which is the total value of the token. And I can also sell part of that land without actually losing control of the real estate. There's also ways to tokenize future developments or future development projects. For example, that you can sell tokens for a building or a casino that is going to be built and be able to raise money with that token and then build a casino with that money. And that pretty much revolutionizes the way of building real estate. It's just one of the many potential use cases of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Any other questions? Any questions from YouTube?
Xenofon, I want to take some of your time as we wait for any potential questions as well. Just to say something important that regarding wallets, there are wallets and exchanges. We are gonna have this is gonna be the main topic of the second webinar that we are gonna make. We are gonna share some information about when at the end of this session, and please use the contact details that we shared already, so as to keep track of everything that we are going to do in the future. So just a quick comment about wallets and exchanges. So there are the centralized ones where you give power to third parties to store your coins, and you run the risk of something going wrong and losing your coins. Whereas in decentralized exchanges and some wallets, when you have the keys, then it is entirely your coins, and no one can do anything about it. So
okay, lovely. We will have another meetup on this specifically, right? So yeah, we will have, this is going to be led by Dimitris. We are going to help anyone that's joined the next meetup create a wallet, make sure that they have their seed very secure without telling us, of course, make sure that they are able to pass through KYC for some of the centralized exchanges and use some of the decentralized exchanges. If you are interested in joining that second meetup, we are more than happy to send the link out. It's the date is not determined yet. We're more than happy to have that determined with a vote, but that's something that we can do at the end of the meetup. Dimitri, I have one more question here about Bitcoin, right?
Sure, sure. Yeah. Let's, for the time being, let's say that this is the final question for your session. When we finish everything, we may have the time for further questions as well.
Exactly. So one of the questions that I have here is about Bitcoin and the limit of Bitcoin now. So as most of us know, there's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. We are not even there yet. We are, I think, at 17 million now, or somewhere between 14 and 17. I'm not 100% certain. But the question is, what happens when we do reach 21 million and there are Bitcoins that are lost or idle for many years? People that lost their private keys, lost their servers, or people that died and couldn't send their crypto to the loved ones for more management. Well, that's actually a big drawback, in my opinion. That Bitcoin that is idle and lost is lost forever. It's lost for good. There is no way that anyone can print more Bitcoin. There is no way that one can access these Bitcoins without the seed phrase and private keys. So in the case, we know that Satoshi Nakamoto has around 2 million Bitcoin in his wallet alone. And we know that that wallet has been idle since 2010, which is when Satoshi disappeared pretty much from there. So yeah, no more Bitcoin, no more management of Bitcoin. So with that, I would like to end my part. Thank you all for joining and asking questions. I'm going to stick around for more Q&A afterwards if you want more information about the projects in the background or in general about introductory stuff with crypto. And again, message me on Telegram if you want, because I'm always available there for more information.
Fantastic. Thank you, Xenofon. As I see some comments on YouTube, guys, I read all of your questions, guys and girls, sorry, and girls. I read all of your questions. However, I'm writing them down, and I'm gonna try and let's say have a quick general Q&A question at the end, so as to give the time to the presenters to finish their presentations first.
Yeah,
okay.
Dimitri, I will be also accepting general purpose questions under
Yes,
my session.
We're going to have a small QA session after each presentation, and then at the end, whatever question may be unanswered.
But I will be accepting general questions as well. Okay.
Fantastic, Lambis. Just Lambis, before you start,
sure.
I wanted to do this at the start, but forgive me, I totally forgot. I wanted to ask the audience if two questions. The first one is if they are familiar with blockchain or no. So please write down with a yes or no at the YouTube chat, and please use also, you can also use the Zoom voting button to let us know, just to have a quick idea of our audience, and also to have like a mini break before Lambis digs in what the decentralized autonomous organizations are. And also don't forget that the third session will be about charts and technical analysis from Yianis. Okay, I'm getting a lot of yeses, and this is really encouraging. However, for people that have replied no, I hope this is the right place to start your journey. I can assure you that this is a space that it definitely is interesting to search for. We all have some time because sometimes I hear some excuses. I don't have so much time to research this. Believe me, it worth your time into digging it a little bit more. So without further ado, Lambis, welcome.
Thank you.
I love your background, man.
Thank you so much. It's the supporters and the enablers of this online meetup. Of course, we're excluding Cube because Cube is everywhere. Cube is the host. And if you allow me to share my screen with you so as to get started with the presentation, that would be great.
Lambis, you are able to share it, I think. Can you try?
No, I cannot share it with you.
Okay.
Dimitris,
Stavro,
shall I assist? 1 moment. Yeah.
Yes, Stavro, please do so.
So, as I said, I will be accepting general questions as well. I'm going to be discussing about a specific topic that I think is interesting to you, but I will also be accepting general purpose questions. So do not hesitate to send them to me or to type them into YouTube. Let's see. Okay, looks like I'm able to share my screen now. Okay, that is great. So hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you today and discuss an exciting new topic on the decentralized scene. My name is Lambis Dionysopoulos. I'm a scholar for the MSc in Digital Currencies provided by the University of Nicosia. I'm an economist and researcher of open decentralized technologies and decentralized finance. And I also advise businesses on how they can incorporate breakthrough technologies in their operations. Before we start, I would like to thank Stavros and my friend Xenofon for his introduction in Bitcoin and Ethereum, as we are going to be building and expanding upon this newly acquired knowledge. And I would also like to make a quick connection check to make sure that everybody can hear me very loud and clear and also can see my screen very clearly. So please, the hosts confirm that everybody can see.
My end, it's perfect.
Lambis, you have an amazing microphone over there and a great voice too. So go ahead.
Thank you so much.
You should do some radio. Think about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, seeing that most of you are business-minded or entrepreneurial people, or in one way or another involved with businesses and startups, I wanted to discuss a topic that I think will affect you directly, as it introduces a new way of doing business and a new way of doing governance. And this is the topic of DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations. So hopefully I will also answer some of your questions on what decentralization is. So DAOs is what happens when you put together unstoppable money and unstoppable code to create unstoppable organizations with a couple of cool features. DAOs are open for everyone to participate. They can be transparent, they can be auditable, and most importantly, they can serve as a platform to incorporate for the growing advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning and Internet of Things in a very seamless way. So in today's discussion, I'm going to be going over what a DAO is, what you can and what you cannot do with it. I'm going to be comparing it to traditional organizations throughout the duration of my talk and go over some notable, successful, and failed DAOs. And I will also be discussing a couple of caveats and how you and your business can prepare for this exciting future. Seeing as this is a more technical topic, I will be going for a surface level overview of everything, but I will be accepting more technical questions at the end. And I really hope that by the end of the session, you walk away with an expanded perception of what a business is and what governance is, and maybe a couple of ideas on how to incorporate those exciting technologies in your own organization. At least this is my goal. And with that being said, let's get into it. So in order to get a basic understanding of what a DAO is, it is sufficient to go over the individual words that make up the acronym. So we've got decentralized, we've got autonomous, and we've got organization. And I think that you will agree when I say that the easiest one to wrap your head around is the organization word. So pretty simple. First and foremost, a DAO is an organization, meaning it is a collection of people that come together in order to fulfill a common goal. And this concept is very familiar to all of us. We are surrounded by organizations. And I want to say that we have an inherent and deep-rooted understanding of why people come together in order to achieve greatness. Over the years, we've heard it expressed in many ways. Some say it's the wisdom of the crowds. Some say that by coming together, we achieve more than our individual sums. But, you know, the notion remains the same either way you put it, and it remains the same for DAOs as well. So a DAO is an organization, but it's not your typical organization. It comes with an interesting twist. You see, one of the characteristics, and from my perspective, advantages of open public blockchains is that they're neutral, meaning that they're agnostic towards people, towards agents, towards reasons for sending or receiving information. As long as you can connect to the network, send and receive valid information, you're a first-class citizen in the eyes of a DAO. So you can be a human, you can be a machine, you can be a Raspberry Pi, you can be a fridge. The DAO doesn't care. If you send valid information, you're a first-class citizen. And this notion, of course, has given birth to one of my favorite quotes that I cannot help myself but include in all presentations, which is, on the blockchain, nobody knows you're a fridge. So to settle things down, if we revisit the definition of organization that I gave before, where I say that it is a collection of people that come together, in the case of a DAO, we can say that it is a collection of entities that come together to achieve greatness. And I want you to imagine what kind of greatness this is. Imagine having colleagues that are AI or Internet of Things devices. Imagine a world where code is a first-class citizen and is free to work with humans, and it's unbound from human jurisdictions, and software that can work together with each other on a single project. I mean, imagine in the healthcare industry, machine learning working together for a solution for a coronavirus vaccine. Habib, I'm gonna go over some notable DAOs in a while. So this is the first step. This is what the organization part means. So I now want to take the time to move on to an equally important part, which is what decentralized means. So when we say decentralized, and this will hopefully ask the question of Chris that he asked before, we mean that the organization is entirely incorporated online on the thousands of nodes that voluntarily help maintain the network, on the computers that help maintain the network. And of course, here we are. And of course, those computers agree with each other on the validity of information due to a consensus layer that Xenofon discussed before. In the case of Bitcoin, this consensus layer is called the Nakamoto consensus, or proof of work. And in the case of Ethereum, this will be proof of stake soon enough. So this ensures that not only the information on the DAO is always valid, but also that the code that runs the DAOs, and I'm going to be discussing more about it in a while, is always executed in the same way. And since it's all public on a blockchain, there is no way for a DAO to cheat you or hide revenues or otherwise act maliciously unless it is programmed to do so. The last advantage that I want to mention is that there's no single point of failure. So this means that in the case of a global pandemic, a DAO would continue to operate uninterrupted. We're moving to the last part that to me is the most exciting part, and it is the autonomous part. So what does it mean? How can we fathom an organization that is completely autonomous? So a DAO is autonomous in the sense that there's no single human managerial entity actively governing the organization and making decisions based on research and market trends, and then exercising authority to actualize those decisions. It has no CEO. It is governed by, instead it has all of its business logic entirely written in code and executed in a very precise way by the nodes that maintain the network. So, and is also governed by the DAO shareholders. The very interesting thing, in case you haven't noticed, is that since all of this is public on the blockchain, your business plan is out there for everyone to see, and not only see, but also copy, and not only copy, but potentially reverse engineer and implement in the exact same way, which is scary, but it allows for something that is commonplace in the open source community, which is for people to work together on complex problems. So imagine the implications of this for logistics, for engineering, or for healthcare problems. So to wrap things up, DAOs promote openness, they promote transparency, they promote coordination and distributed governance. And in the case of where a permission chain is used, and I can expand on that during the Q&A session, they also promote tracking and rewarding contribution. And with that being said, I want to move on to a more pragmatic side of things and discuss a couple of notable DAOs. I want to take the time to preface this part of the discussion with a disclaimer. I'm not personally endorsing any of those projects. My purpose here is purely educational, and I want to give you enough information so you can decide on your own through your own research. So the first notable DAO is the Dash DAO. It started off as a copy or fork, as we call it, of Bitcoin, and attempted to improve on some of its shortcomings, or what it thought was shortcomings. And one of the things that it wanted to address was that people get compensated for the work they do in improving the protocol. So as you might be aware of, Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies in general have gone through various iterations until their present version. And this is through the work done by researchers and programmers that do not get directly compensated for the work. So DAOs thought it would be better for them to get paid. And instead of building a centralized authority, such as a committee that can be corrupt, that can be incompetent, that can be bribed, they delegated this authority to the DAOs holders. And in this way, they managed to automate to find a way to automate funds towards developers and marketeers. They managed to host events and even an educational YouTube show. So this is an idea maybe that you should consider when for the next time you want to delegate funds. The other notable DAO that I want to mention, which is a personal favorite, is the Maker DAO. So Maker is an infinitely complex attempt at creating a stable coin, meaning a cryptocurrency that is always pegged one-to-one to a fiat currency. In the case of Maker, this is the dollar, and it uses the Maker token for governance. And the last one that I want to mention, give me a second. And the last one that I want to mention is the Aragon DAO, which is a platform. It is DAO in itself, and it's also a platform for building other DAOs. So all of those were arguably success stories, but I want to talk about something that is a little bit more spicy. And this is the DAO. So the DAO was one of the most promising projects to ever hit the decentralized space. It's meant to operate as a venture capital fund for crypto-related ideas, and the platform will allow for everyone with an idea to pitch it and potentially receive rewards and funds from the DAO. And anyone with DAO tokens could vote on the idea and then receive compensation in case this was successful. Needless to say that this idea caught up, as it received more than 11.5 million ETH in funding from more than 18,000 aspiring investors, which was at some time worth more than $2 billion US. And it was also 15% of the total circulation of Ethereum. If you do not know what this means, is that take all the Ethereum that exists out there, 15% of this was delegated towards the DAO. So in June 2016, the DAO went live, and within days, a security hole was found, and a fix was created and waited approval. However, it was too late, because one short day later, June 17, 2016, I was there, a hacker discovered the loophole and managed to drain $70 million dollars worth of ETH from the DAO contracts. So here you can see one original screenshot from the Reddit thread that is still live and that you can still visit. And you can also see replies from celebrities in the decentralized space, such as the creator of Ethereum himself, Vitalik Buterin.
Lambis, sorry, for some reason, we cannot see the whole screen of yours.
What exactly are you able to see?
For example, at my end, at least, I don't know, Xenofon, can you also confirm? I see.
I see everything quite well on my end.
Okay, maybe it's my settings. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
I'm good too, guys. I'm good too.
Okay, carry on, guys.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, the Ethereum community tried their best to stop the DAO, the drain, but it came down to a fork of the Ethereum chain. They essentially split the chain and created a new one where the exploit didn't happen. The new one is called Ethereum, and it's the main network of Ethereum. And the old one where the exploit still exists is Ethereum Classic. And I can expand on this during the Q&A session. This was the end of the DAO, as you might expect, and it was also a good lesson for all of us. It taught us that when you use unstoppable money and couple it with unstoppable code to create unstoppable organizations, this can lead to unstoppable exploits. So now that we've seen the power of DAOs, both for good and for bad, you might be wondering how to adapt for this future. And the first thing to realize is that blockchains and cryptocurrencies and DAOs are not just a product innovation. They're not just a process innovation, not a position innovation, or even a paradigm innovation. They're all those innovations put together and then some. They're a product innovation because they're building on top of cryptocurrencies and blockchains and smart contracts. And since the days of the early internet, zero knowledge proofs and cryptography and security are a hot topic again. They're a process innovation because they involve the concept of reaching distributed consensus in a network of mutually distrusting nodes, which was thought to be impossible up until 2017, when the Nakamoto consensus got its formal verification. This means that you can agree on the validity of information along with people, with millions of other people, potentially billions of other devices that you have never heard of, that you've never met, even if some of those try to break the system. And they are a paradigm innovation because banks and financial service providers have had 12 years to repair customer trust since the financial collapse of 2008. And here we are in 2020 talking about bailing out banks again. Lastly, I want to say that they're also a platform innovation because they're a platform innovation because banks, sorry about that, they're a platform innovation because as the internet allowed for e-commerce and social media and teleconferences such as this one, DAOs will allow for inclusive, open, and a transparent way of doing governance, economy, and business. So the question remains how to prepare for this. And I can answer it in 1 minute. Develop a culture of constant innovation. 1 week of developments in the decentralized space is 3 months of developments for a startup and 1 year of developments for a traditional corporate business. So if you fall in this last category, you will not even see it coming. Embrace a culture of constant change and innovation. A day without innovation should mean literal death for your business. Number 2, flatten your organizational structure. We are moving towards a world where the center is automated out, so delegate as much managerial power as you possibly can to each individual part of your organization. And the most important of all is tip number 3, which is to start learning and start embracing open decentralized technologies and their implications for our worlds. Do not invest in Bitcoin. Do not invest in Ethereum. Invest in education, because education is the only thing that cannot lose 80% of its value overnight, that cannot be lost, that cannot be confiscated or stolen. And by investing in education, you invest not only in Bitcoin and Ethereum and smart contracts, you invest in all of those things at the same time. And most importantly, you invest in your ability and your organization's ability to pursue all future roads. I hope this online discussion was the first step to you towards this direction. And I want to take 2 more minutes of your time to suggest some future steps. Join Cryptoschoolio, which is the first, and to my heart, the largest casual Greek community for crypto discussion. You will get most of your questions answered there, and you will meet some awesome people like our host, Dimitris. Dimitris, ευχαριστώ πολύ για τη δουλειά που έχεις κάνει και γιατί θες το βράδυ σου μέχρι τις 4 ξύπνιος για να το οργανώσεις για όλους μας. Join some of the online courses on blockchain technology that are provided for free. There are some great courses by Berkeley University, by Princeton University, and even by the Linux Foundation. And of course, we cannot go without mentioning the massive online open course provided by the University of Nicosia and taught by 2 leading experts in the decentralized space, Antonis Polemitis, Andreas Xenopoulos, and coordinated by Dimitris Tseas. All of those people are great teachers. They do not need my endorsement. They're worldwide renowned professionals. So once again, my name is Laios Dionysopoulos. The best way to reach me is on Telegram at Lambis Dion. This is LAMBISDION, or you can find me on LinkedIn under the name Lambis Dionysopoulos. I will be more than happy to get up close and personal with you and maybe answer your questions, and we'll see what comes up. So thank you so much. I will be open for questions now. So make sure to ask some great ones.
So everyone, please go ahead and ask your questions. I'm gonna check Zoom and YouTube to see if we have any regarding DAOs. At the same time, I want to take this small break as an opportunity to say, Labi, can you please go back for just a minute at the University of Nicosia? Sure. So first of all, I would like to thank again the University of Nicosia that let the people know that this session is going to take place, and we have many members of the university with us. Of course, we are all about education, and the University of Nicosia is not the only one that deals with blockchain issues. However, I have to really recommend this free MOOC. I believe it's the first university that they had an MSc.
It was in 2014.
Yeah, it was, okay, yeah. Regarding blockchain. So huge respect and kudos for this. And part of the first part, I think, of this MSc is this free MOOC. Whoever completes it gets either way a certification, and they can carry on with their MSc studies or just stop there. So no commitments attached, let's say. I just wanted to say some few words because it happens for me to be the ambassador of the University of Nicosia for Greece as well. It is one of the many hats that I wear. Yeah, I have this. Yeah, but since you refer to community, Labi, yeah, Cryptoschool is a group that it happened to create. It is there are many communities out there, and as I say, there are not. Yeah, I said it wrong. So there are many communities.
I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in. I'm not sure if you want to add something else, Dimitris.
We will. I just wanted to say that for me, the blockchain community is one, and it is expressed through many channels. Either this is Telegram, Facebook, or other platforms as well. So let's see, Lambis, do you see?
Yeah. I have a couple here. So,
okay, so
we've got somebody asking, are there some recommended platforms for creating a company like DAO? So, a couple of things that I want to address. Not many platforms. I included one in the slides. It's called Aragon. It's a DAO in itself, and it's a platform for creating other DAOs. It has a couple of templates that you can use that automatically trigger smart contracts and create a decentralized autonomous organization for you with functions that you can choose. This is an exciting project that I have used in the past, and I would be more than happy because it's infinitely complex, and you need to have at least a very good understanding of wallets and how to do transactions and a little bit understanding of smart contracts. I would be more than happy if you want me to go over a tutorial on how to create your decentralized autonomous organization. We can do this in the future. Where can you go to read of Aragon? If you just type in Google Aragon, you can, I'm pretty sure that you will come across their white paper and countless documentations on how you can create your own. So another question that I saw was, can you please briefly explain the concept of DeFi? Okay, that is a great question. This is one of my favorite subjects to talk about.
This is a huge topic.
So it makes me happy to see people that want to be involved in the decentralized space. So DeFi is an umbrella term that characterizes a collection of technologies and a collection of problems that mimic the traditional functionality of banks and financial service providers, but they do it in a decentralized way. Now, they don't only mimic it, but they also, on top of it, add some expanded functionality. So one of the main implications, one of the main applications of DAO are stable coins, which I discussed. One of those stable coins is DAO, and it is a very exciting project. So imagine this, through a DAO, through a decentralized autonomous organization by people and machines that don't know each other, the maker DAO is able to create a cryptocurrency, okay, that is backed by a basket of collateral and is always stable against the dollar. And this is a prime example of decentralized finance. Another prime example of decentralized finance is decentralized exchanges, where you can switch from one crypto to another. And this is very popular with ERC20 tokens. Those are Ethereum tokens, by utilizing breakthrough technologies such as cross-chain atomic swaps, which they're immensely complex to go over, but you use time-locked smart contracts and signed transactions. And this is something that I can get into at some point in the future if you'd like to learn more. It is a whole session of its own. I'm also reading about has any process been made with the legal recognition of DAOs to replace companies? So the question to that, so in order to answer this question, you have to well, it depends on the jurisdiction and it depends on many things. There hasn't been enough developments in the space to even recognize smart contracts as legally binding. And there are a couple of projects that are working on it, like Codra with the Ricardian contracts, which are both human and machine readable. But up until now, the only way, and I'm not a legal expert, but the only way that I can see where you can have something recognized in court is to have an offline contract, include information of the online contract or the DAO to the offline contract, and then include information of the offline contract back to the DAO or smart contract, and in this way sign it and prove that it was your intention all along. Again, this is very complex, and this is something that I would like to have much more time than we actually have to go into. So I'm not sure if you can see if I'm seeing any other questions.
I am scanning.
Guys, I think after the wallet and exchange one, we should definitely do one about DeFi, because DeFi.
Yeah.
Yes, by all means. Maybe we combine it as well, Xenofon. Maybe wallets is the first sub-session, and DeFi is the...
But if you wanna chat DAI, if you wanna learn more about DAI, just hit me up. I love talking about those kinds of things through Telegram or through LinkedIn. I will spend some time with you and address all of your concerns. Do not hesitate to do it.
Guys, I would suggest in a future meetup, maybe in a couple of weeks or whenever it is we decide to do it, that we perhaps, do a type of unconference format where we have separate rooms for separate levels. So we have, some very advanced rooms, so people can go and talk some advanced technical subjects, and then some very basic levels for the introductory kind of stuff, that tutorials that newbies are getting into. This has been very, very good though, and I should just make one little point. There was a point where Lambis was speaking Greek, and I want to just translate that, because he was saying thanks very much to Dimitris Provatas for putting in so much work and staying up until 4 a.m. This morning to make sure that's all working. So I want to be sure that our non-Greek speaking friends have complete understanding of what's being said in Greek. But keep it up, guys. It's fantastic. I'm really happy.
Many thanks, but I have to say it is collective. Cube helped us a lot, so thank you, Stavros. The university helped us a lot, and of course, it's not only me, it's Lambis and Xenofon who took this time and did this presentation. And let's not forget Yianis, who also made the presentation, and you haven't seen anything from him.
I'm gonna hand it off to Yianis and Dimitris and Stavros. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here today. And I hope to see you in a future meetup. Share your suggestion with us and send me a message so we can discuss further. Thank you so much. I'm out.
Yianis, are you with us, just to check if everything is okay at your end?
Yep, can you hear me? Is everything okay with the sound?
Perfectly, and we can see you as well. At least I can see you.
Okay, perfect. So should I begin?
Yeah, by all means. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Please give me the access to.
Yeah, Stavros, can you please allow Yianis to share his screen?
Just give me 1 sec, guys.
Yeah.
Yianis happens to be right at the bottom of the list because of the Y in his surname.
What can you do?
There you are, Yianis. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So there we go. A couple of words about me before I start. Give me a sec. So my background is in engineering. As you may know, my name is Yianis Laios. I have studied mineral resources engineering at the Technical University of Crete, but since the late 2017, I've been in the rabbit hole of Bitcoin and crypto mining and crypto trading, trying to make ends meet with that. And today I will make an introductory talk about trading and the basics of technical analysis. By all means, you will not learn to trade by this talk, nor to do technical analysis, but my hope is that you will have the right, let's say, intellectual triggers to search about the right topics in order to progress as a technical analyst or a trader. So what is the outline of my talk? I will briefly define technical analysis, and some 2 words about the basics of TA, which is candlestick charts, time frames, candlestick patterns, technical patterns or candlestick formations, defining support resistance, defining an uptrend or a downtrend, which is actually the market context or framework of our technical study. And in the end, 2 words about directional bias and positioning. So what is technical analysis? Technical analysis, or TA, is the method of studying past price action with the purpose of to produce probabilistic assumptions on future movements. These assumptions are based on the behavioral characteristics of price history. And I want to say that there is no technical analysis that can produce forecasts. Anyone that makes forecasts with technical analysis is probably pulling your leg. So, a general example. We can see at the left-hand side of the chart, which is the Bitcoin chart, a technical pattern, which is called the inverse head and shoulders. This pattern does not predict future movements, but statistically, it tends to break upwards. So we have a clear target for this technical pattern, and we have also a risk. What is risk? Risk is the money we're going to lose if we enter the trade, and this is the right mindset of a trader. This money should be always considered lost when we enter a trade. Technical patterns sometimes work, as in this case, where it gave us a 30% upwards movement, but some other times technical patterns fail. So it is important to define risk. Let me read that. TA helps the analyst to define risk and act accordingly. It does not predict the future, so it's better thought as technical analysis as a risk management tool and not a forecasting mechanism. So many technical analysts tend to paint their educated guesses. In my opinion, this is not correct because it gives the untrained observer an unjustified bias. Every analysis, technical analysis, should have at least two outcomes. Many times there are a lot more than two. So let's get into the basics. What are candlestick charts? We can see that there are many ways to depict the market with lines or with areas, but the most commonly used format is the Japanese, candlestick chart. It is the most used format in most financial markets. What is a candle? A candle is this formation that you see on your screen. It has actually 4 points of interest: the highest price of the day, or of the hour, or on the time frame that we are analyzing, the lowest price of the day, and depending on the color, when the body is red, the stock closed lower. So in a red candle, the closing price is at this point, and when the candle is green, the close is on the upper side of the body of the candle. 2 words about time frames. Time frames on a candle chart define the time period each candle represents. In the hourly time frame, each candle is 1 hour. On the weekly frame, each candle is 1 week, and so on. High frame price action is made by lower time frame price action. For example, the 4-hour candle is made by 4 hourly candles, which means that actually price action is included on the higher frames. Lower time frame price action is included on the higher frames, but lower time frame price action includes price moves that are irrelevant on the bigger frames. This could be arguably considered as data noise. Because of that noise, it's hard to define price action trends or patterns on the lower frames and understand the market context on strict criteria. Let me show you a slide on that. So on the left-hand side, you see the 4-hour candle chart, and on the left side, the 15-minute chart. You can see that the price action is not as clear in both cases. On the 15-minute chart, there are many fluctuations in price that could distort our image of the market.
Sorry, can I comment something here that maybe you mentioned it already and I missed it, but because candles, I suppose that it's something new for some. So let's say what it represents. So at the 4-hour chart, every line that you see, every candle represents 4 hours, whereas in the 15-minute chart, every little candle that you can see represents a 15 price action.
15 minutes of price action, exactly, each candle. Yeah. So let's move on to candlestick patterns. Candlestick patterns are known candle formations appearing under center market conditions indicating price continuation or reversal. Candlestick patterns are useless if you don't understand the market context, which is an uptrend or a downtrend or a sideways consolidation, which means sideways movement. These are some examples of candlestick patterns. I would like you to note, if you will, the bearish and bullish tweezer patterns, or the hammer, or even the shooting star, which are the most common formations that someone could see at the Bitcoin US dollar pair. And I want you to keep in mind that I'm just showing you some of the basic patterns. There are about a gazillion of them. Someone should understand the context and then maybe dive in and read more about candlestick patterns. So let's move to candlestick formations. Candlestick patterns, the ones that I already mentioned, usually have 1 to 3 candles forming them, whereas candlestick formations are usually longer price action structures. We saw one of these, that the first one I showed you is a very known candlestick formation. It's the head and shoulders formation. So known formations are the head and shoulder formation as a top or a bottom, the inverted form, the one we saw, double or triple tops or double or triple bottoms, broadening support and resistance formation, etc. There are also about a gazillion formations, so someone, in order to practically use those formations, must understand them in depth, meaning how exactly they are defined in literature and how they should be traded, meaning the risk definition, identification criteria, the times they fail, etc., or how they fail rather. So this is an example, some examples of formations. At the left-hand side, you can see the broadening formations, the formations. In the middle, there is the known and ascending triangle, and on the right side is the triple bottom. Again, this is purely introductory. Someone must dive in the literature in order to understand them. The most common and important formation is the price swing move, which is the basic building block of a trend. So what is a swing move? A swing move is a price action move where the price does one high and a following low. It's as simple as that. It's nothing complicated. Consecutive swing moves form uptrends or downtrends, or even sideways consolidations, and they are always defined by those 2 simple points. You can see in this chart, I have separated the swing moves indicatively. That defining support and resistance. Price level on a chart that could act as barriers for the price. Support is the price level where the price is consecutively bought. Resistance is the opposite. It's consecutively sold. You can see a typical support resistance structure right here. Support, the price is consecutively being bought, and here it is consecutively being sold. On a chart, we can see that there are these kind of levels, support levels where the price is consecutively being sold, being bought, and resistance where it is consecutively being sold. These levels tend to switch roles, so a more orthological way of saying, baptizing these levels is support resistance levels and not purely resistance or support levels. So we can see an example here that support turned into resistance, and this indicated a market continuation. When it hit another support level and it ranging sideways, where the level is broken at some time, and then it is again retested as support, which is a good indication of price continuation upwards. And it is also a risk defining event. So we could define our trade risk by this level exactly. And you can see here, a moment later, the level did paid off. The level turned into support, and it went upwards when it hit a previous support level, which is also tested as resistance, and it has begun. No, it is resistance here also, and it is the previous resistance level is also retested as support, and the continuation also happens. After that, I don't have a chart that continues, but trust me, price went to this resistance and then went down again. So defining an uptrend or a downtrend. When the overall direction or framework of study of an asset is upwards, it is described as an uptrend. Consecutive swing moves tend to create higher highs and higher lows. As long as this order stays intact, the uptrend should continue until it doesn't. The same principles apply for a downtrend, but in the opposite direction, meaning that the consecutive swing moves create lower highs and lower lows. So someone can derive from that that identifying swing moves is a prerequisite for understanding trends. So let's try and define an uptrend on a chart. We have the swing moves here, which are pretty clear, at least to my eyes. And you can see that the market is consecutively building higher lows and higher highs within the context of support resistance. As a trader, I can have the indication that this trend is about to end because at this point, exactly, we have the first lower swing high. So the market structure indicates that the trend is about to change. And maybe you remember from the chart I showed you above, right here, that after that uptrend and after the lower swing high, market did change trend and then went downwards. So actually this indicator in this case paid off. And I want you to always have in mind that those are not predictions. They are only indications which define risk. Okay. So
Yianis, let me know when I can intervene for just a minute.
Well, I'm almost done. So
okay, please finish off him.
Yeah, thank you. So what is technical or directional bias? And just one word about positioning. Directional bias is formed when a speculator has sufficient technical evidence to expect a certain direction. So you might suspect what I mean by that. In this example here, as a technical analyst, we have sufficient evidence to have a directional bias upwards. Why? Because we have a sideways consolidation range that broke upwards and it's been retested as support. So this should be sufficient evidence to create a directional bullish bias. Okay, so practically, after adopting a directional bias, the trader can adjust his positioning reasoning depending on the trend. On an uptrend, the speculator is searching for entries on the higher low sequence, whereas in a downtrend, he's searching for selling opportunities on the lower highs. Again, on this example, as a trader, when this level turns into support from resistance, I'm starting to look for entries on the sequence of the higher lows. Or this is dependent on the positioning strategy, but let's stay to that for now. Here are a couple of sites someone could start his research into technical analysis. I would highly suggest the technical lessons of Cryptocred in YouTube and the basics, or rather a deep dive on technical patterns by Thomas Bulkowski. And of course, for the terminology and the basics of technical analysis, someone could use Investopedia and some entry, let's say, an entry research, I would say, on candlestick patterns. So thank you for listening. Please stay away from trading unless you are ready to do the preliminary work in order to understand the risks. Most traders go bust. Please have that in mind. And try to read before you delve in. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Yianis. Thank you, Yianis. Thanks a lot. We already have some questions for you. I just wanted to make a small comment regarding technical analysis.
Please go ahead.
Sorry, what?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, and so the theory tells us that in perfect markets, historical prices cannot predict future prices. However, I feel strongly that this is not a perfect market yet, the crypto space. This is the one. The other thing is that this is just theory. So practice has shown us, maybe also because all traders see the same graphs. So it is like a self-fulfilled prophecy. Like if many indicators for me show a buy signal, partly I may go for that trade because I have on the head of my, I have on my head, sorry, that other people see this, so they might jump into it. So it is, it has a psychology aspect as well, I think. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It has a psychology aspect, and many define technical analysis as a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
So when many see or expect that the same thing will happen, maybe they act on it, and maybe that's why that thing actually happens. But in any case, I would like to refer to your first point that in perfect markets, technical analysis don't work because it can't do forecasts. And I would like to say that technical analysis by definition cannot do forecasts. As I said in my presentation, every analysis has at least two outcomes. And this is a really important point because technical analysis cannot forecast anything at all. What it can do is define risk and reward. And that is all it can do. So,
right.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Yianis, we have some questions for you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, let's start with the first one from Emily. So Emily asks, would it be fair to say that support is characterized by a series of buy orders?
Yeah, it could. Yes, absolutely.
Although it would be better to have not buy orders, because people can retract the buy orders. Maybe it would be better if in that area we had some volume, some actual order.
So yeah, it's not, you're right, it's not actual order. What we should say is a series of executed buy orders, because
Exactly.
technical analysis looks at the past, and it is totally agnostic about the future. So any data that indicate towards the future as future buying orders are totally useless for technical analysts.
Great. I will go for two more. So Nick asks, is technical analysis really something to depend on in regards with the cryptocurrency market, which is still very small and therefore easily manipulated? This is the first. And the second is, support and resistance are liquidity areas. As much time, no, this is, sorry, this was an answer to, sorry, my bad. So can we go for Nick's comment?
So please come again.
Is technical analysis really something to depend on in regards with cryptocurrency market, which is still very small and therefore easily manipulated? And I think it's a very good question.
It is a very good question, and it doesn't have a strict answer, but Technical analysis is not something to depend on. Technical analysis is a tool for trading. So someone could try and create a macro, bias on an asset based on technical analysis, but in my humble opinion, you are delving into dangerous territory there. What technical analysis is it's a risk management toolbox and nothing more. I know I'm repeating myself, but everything I think that everything comes to that on the misconceptions of technical analysis.
Great, great. Nizar, if I say the name correctly, asks, can machine learning algorithms help in market technical analysis?
Well, hedge fund, I believe that hedge funds and big organizations are using bots, or it is the known high frequency trading. And yes, absolutely, bots can trade based on technical analysis. Yes.
Does fundamental analysis have an impact on Bitcoin? Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And there are also aspects of the fundamentals analysis that come to technical analysis, the non-coin metrics. So yeah, absolutely.
But Kostas, in order to answer this as well from my side of things, I think that at the end, what drives the Bitcoin or any other asset price is the fundamental analysis. This is the most basic reason for something to rise or fall. Technical analysis is just another tool that we have that helps us take some better decisions.
Or rather, educated decisions.
Yes, yes,
I would
yes.
say. Yeah.
Yes, or calculated risk.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Another question for Yianis. What about deep reinforcement? So are you the same? Okay. What about deep reinforcement learning for trading? Reinforcement learning has made advancements in creating strategies for trading bots.
Well, yeah, I'm not a specialist, but to my knowledge, neural networks are already in the market and will probably bring another revolution in this aspect.
I have a small, so it's totally personal opinion here. So Harry, I can think of a way that traders, like big traders, could let's say take advantage of these trading bots. For example, let me give you a small example, and I think that this has played out in the past as well. So trading bots have some parameters that they work. So someone with a lot of money, let's say, could make could signal a fake move to the bots, and then do the exact opposite thing in action. So this is also something to consider regarding bots. Plus that many bots, in order to work, you have to give them permission with APIs that also affects your security, or the security of your funds. So also have this in mind, because there are many bots out there, and for me, I don't use them because I find them risky from many sides. Let me see if we have anything else. I think we covered most of them. At some point, I saw a question for Lambis. Lambis, are you? Yeah, you are here. I'm pretty sure.
I'm with you.
I'm pretty sure I saw a question just 5 minutes ago about you.
To be honest with you, I missed the question.
Yeah, but the thing is that I cannot find now. Anyway, so whoever has any question for Xenofon, Lambis, or Yianis, as we are heading to the end of this session, please feel free to ask. We are gonna take one question or two, and just to ask you to stay connected with us, since this was like a small success, I hope. We're gonna schedule more webinars, also in English, so as we have participants from all over the globe. And most probably the next session will be about exchanges, wallets, and maybe some decentralized finance. And we have a target date, maybe 15 days from now or 3 weeks from now. It's gonna be something like that. So stay connected so as to find out day and time.
Mute everybody and let them ask us questions directly.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get that done right away. Absolutely. Just give me a second, guys. Right, here we go. Alrighty, everybody's unmuted, and that's gonna be.
Yeah.
All right.
Networking.
Good. You guys can mute yourselves if you want, or unmute yourself, and let's do just a basic networking. And I just want to say thank you to the organizers. This has been fantastic.
Thank you to Stavros.
Thank you, Stavros.
Without you. And I want to give a special thank you to Yianis for taking the time to help us with this. Yianis isn't part of the Decentralized Athens chapter, but he is one of the most important people within the community. And yeah, again, Yianis, thank you for everything. I had a question for you. As a trader, what do you think of hodlers?
Can you elaborate a bit more?
Sorry. 1 minute. Guys, because we unmuted everyone now, please do me a huge favor and go mute yourself if you are not speaking, so we can hear the questions more clearly, please.
Dimitri, I'll keep my eye on it. I'll keep my eye on it as well. And if I find someone making noise, I'll mute them directly.
Great, thanks.
Carry on.
So, what I think about holders. The question should be concentrated on Bitcoin, because I don't think that you want to know what I think about holders, or mindless holding in general. But in the case of Bitcoin, especially, could I share my screen for a moment? Is that possible?
Sure.
Of course.
Give me 1 second. 1 second. There you go.
Yeah, thank you. So here. So in the case of Bitcoin, what do I think about holders? What I have to show you in order to answer that is the macro price of Bitcoin. So is it a good idea to be a holder of Bitcoin? I don't think that I must elaborate much about that. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's a wonderful idea to be a holder of Bitcoin. So could you make more profit by trying to trade or create an alpha capital? Definitely, yes, but the most probable outcome is that you will lose your money. So maybe holding Bitcoin is the wisest way to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Anybody else has any questions about the presentations that we had, or any other aspects of cryptocurrency and blockchain that they want to ask us?
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, please.
Yes, just a theoretical one. I would like your opinion in regards to how close is a country to issue its own cryptocurrency, like let's say Estonia that tried a couple of years to get a license or something like that from the European Union, I think.
Lovely question. Okay, so this is part of my expertise. My thesis is on stablecoins and CBDCs and price stability within cryptocurrencies. The question whether a country is going to issue their own token is twofold. They can issue a token that is volatile in the markets, like an actual cryptocurrency, or they can issue a CBDC that is tied to the fiat currency. The fiat currency is dollars and euros, as traditional currencies. We are extremely close to having a CBDC launched. China is working on one. I know for a fact from my personal connections that the European Union, the ECB, have the crypto euro ready to go. They just simply haven't done it yet because they're waiting to see what Facebook and Libra will go ahead and do with their own stablecoin. For those that don't know, CBDC stands for central bank digital currencies, and they're all backed by a dollar. They pretty much are a fiat currency or euro dollar represented in digital form through DLT technology. And then you also have stable coins, which are private dollars, if you think about it, that have either one-to-one backing, or in some very peculiar cases like DAI, are backed by different assets. In DAI's case, with 500% collateralization in cryptocurrencies. Therefore, for every one USD worth of DAI, which is a stable coin, there is 5 USD worth of Ethereum or other crypto assets within the portfolio. Therefore, if their volatility falls by up to 80%, there's still one-to-one coverage. Therefore, it's always stable. For CBDCs, and back to your question, I expect that a CBDC will be officially launched within the next year and a half, depending on how much Facebook pushes Libra, because the main concern isn't smaller stable coins, not even Tether, which is the most traded crypto asset in the planet, even more traded than Bitcoin, but it is a global stable coin that can pretty much go around traditional markets and traditional currencies. However, it's also important to know that pilot programs in Chile or Paraguay and in Sweden have already been tested. There is a crypto chrono, and it has been used in the past. Also, if you want to find out a bit more about CBDCs and the different functions that they have, you can read one of my articles on Stable Reports on CBDCs that talks about the different types of CBDCs. There are CBDCs for retail, CBDCs that we will get in our pockets. There are CBDCs on wholesale, which only go to the banks and work for overnight loans without using other settlement processes, but only through.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Yes.
It's Professor Morrissey here. I've been looking at backing the stablecoin with something like carbon credits. Have you heard anything about that?
Say that again. Carbon credits.
Carbon credits as the the backing, so we can actually trade carbon credits through the for the currency.
I'm not familiar with what carbon credits are, but I'm more than happy to look into it a bit more. Are you talking about carbon, the stable coin?
No. I'm talking about global carbon credits. So the credits.
Oh, sorry. Carbon emissions.
Yeah,
carbon credits.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm doing some work around that, and it's really interesting.
I'm not as familiar, but I know that there are companies out there that are using the blockchain to tokenize energy consumption and carbon emissions. I have a friend that is targeting on these things, and I can ask him a few more questions and get back to you.
I'm doing quite a lot of research on it at the University of Liverpool, so if anybody wants to get involved in that, give me a call. But
do you know if these carbon credits are going to have a global audience, or are they going to be
absolutely a global audience? Countries can actually trade them between themselves.
Have they been active towards that? Have you seen them wanting to?
I'm getting some countries that are actually taking that on board, specifically countries with big carbon footprints. For instance, Brazil, Guyana, with the rainforests. So those sort of things are really interesting. It's liberalizing the value across a huge amount of land.
Got it. Okay, lovely. I mean, that's definitely a topic that is one of the future applications of the technology that people haven't even particularly thought about yet and haven't seen it work yet. They have thought about it, haven't seen it work yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, Chris, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, just one last thing. You probably got it just for to make this straight. Going further with this, is there a possibility that, let's say, a central bank for cryptocurrencies to regulate the whole scene?
Okay, so the great question. When I think of central bank for cryptocurrencies, I am thinking of a dead project that was called Basis. I recommend you check it out, Basis and Basis Coin. However, that is a stable coin that wants to act like a central bank, where they have a two-token system where when demand for the stablecoin goes up, they increase the supply by selling the second token. Or when the demand for it goes down, they sell the second coin. So they sell the second coin for stablecoin, so they increase the supply, therefore it stays stable. That's very complex. We can talk about this another time. However, when it comes to the way that central banks work with the banking system and having something similar in crypto, I don't think there is a concrete proposal just yet. I do know that Christine Lagarde has spoken about this when she was in the IMF before she joins the ECB. And I do know that for some stable coins, she was open to say that in extreme cases, if they are regulated and part of the law, we might be able to see a potential cooperation between BIS, the central bank of central banks, and these stable coins. But that's still very early on. There isn't any concrete movement for that just yet, but the space is moving very fast. So check out BIS Innovation Hub for that, for more information.
Do you think that this will, let's say, bring an end to the decentralization of the information, I guess?
I don't know. I don't know. There are many people that oppose any such movement because of their distrust and mistrust of the government and of these banking institutions. There are others that see it as a ladder towards a better future, right? A step ahead. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. It really depends on its person. I see more questions here for me in stable coins. I saw one about social trading beforehand. That's an easier question for me to answer. If you want to find out more about social trading and copying portfolio movements, check out SET protocol, which does that within DeFi. The question that has the second one, do you see stable coins as the future due to their pegging? My concern is when the lights go out, so does your money. So this question is about stable coins being pegged to fiat, and theoretically, if fiat fails, if the dollar fails, so will the stable coin because it is pegged to it. That's a great question. Well, there are many ways to answer this question. The first one is, if dollars fail, well, the stablecoin in crypto is too small of a market to be concerned about. Really, the whole economy, the global economy is going to go down the drain, and we don't really want to see that. However, that's not the way that I want to answer this question. There are ways to avoid inflation through stablecoins, and I'm going to bring my attention back to DAI and USDC. USD coin. It is a stable coin created by Goldman Sachs backed Circle and Coinbase. It is one of the most popular, better tethers. They compete with Tether and DAI. Both of these are stable coins pegged to the USD, and they offer decentralized loans. They offer stuff like compound that will give you an interest rate within those stable coins of over 2 to 3%, over 4% even, sometimes up to 6 to 8%, to simply loan your money out and collect a percentage of the interest that they charge for these loans, which is close to 10%. With these applications like Compound, like Chai, which are part of DeFi, you can most certainly protect yourself from inflation. It's not the same as if the value of the USD depegs completely and goes down the drain, but it still protects you from the inflation, which many people in crypto point out as the biggest issue with modern money and fiat specifically. So I hope that answers some of these questions. Do we have anything else?
Again, I think I saw something about Lambis, but I lost it again.
Did you see it on YouTube?
I saw it too. It
Yeah.
had to do about the potential of DAOs to involve into a government or
Yes, this one.
yeah.
Ooh, lovely.
So this is one hell of a question. This is exciting, and I was bouncing back and forth on whether I should include it in the original presentation, and the answer is yes. And good on you for spotting it. There is absolutely the potential to use a DAO to govern a set of people in the size of a very small community and manage everything pretty much through the DAO, their finances. They do a whole justice system that is built, and legal system that is built on top of a DAO. Create how do you call them? Create pretty much any application. And there's also the concept of algorithmic governance, which takes this a step further and talks about whole governments that operate under the rules of DAOs, with their citizens being shareholders and deciding on the specific rules and taxes. And there has also been some attempts at creating something like this. One attempt that I want to draw your attention to is the e-residency that Estonia offers. It is a card that allows you to incorporate an organization in Estonia, and it is backed by blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And there is rumor in the streets that they are also working on a DAO. The second project that I want to bring your attention to is BitNation. They're doing much of those things. Xenofon is involved with them, so maybe he can speak a little bit more about it. But there is absolutely the potential for algorithmic governance. There is absolutely the potential to have a whole country, a whole continent, and even the whole world run under DAOs. And of course, this is way out there, but it is exciting to think about the possibilities and how the world can be transformed if we are governed by machines. This is a thing that I mentioned in my presentation. So the whole purpose of decentralized technologies, so we're used to technology that automates out the sides, that automates mundane processes and repetitive processes. Blockchain technology is here to automate out the center. And this is something that I've been thinking about for a long time. People are very good at setting rules and laws, but they're very bad at following them. And if we can set the rules and then the protocol enforce them for us, then we can really have something. I see that somebody is asking for my pensional details again, and I'll make sure to send them to you in the chat. So if you'd like to add something to that, Xenofon, by all means, go ahead.
I'm not going to add much. I do recommend you check out BitNation. BitNation was one of the first and one of the most decorated, I don't know if that's the correct word, one of the most famous and popular projects within the decentralized governance space. There are a lot of very smart people looking at specialty restrictions and how you can use blockchain and other technologies to creates functions that governments traditionally use. For laws, we have a ULEX protocol, which is a way of bringing common law within smart contracts. There are stuff like Big Nation and startup societies and free private cities, which are trying to find ways to incorporate technology to creating the minimal government. Because as we said before, thinking about DAOs, imagine if you had a government that had a smart contract issue, a security problem that could get its funds drained or that get hacked and controlled. So there are definitely a lot of movements that are similar to DAGs, as some people call them. DAGs have two meanings, by the way. One is one of the meanings is decentralized autonomous governance, but that's not the most popular use. So decentralized governance is part of what we are working on. BitNation is very good at that, and I recommend you reach out to us if you want to find out more about BitNation. We can have the CEO come and talk to us in the future, because I'm an official advisor with the project.
I think it's a good time to wrap things up here. What do you think, guys? Dimitris, Stavros?
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Okay, so I think Stavros, I think we're much done. I don't know if there's any other questions. If there are questions, please join us on Telegram. It's the best resource for crypto knowledge and crypto communities.
Exactly.
Yes, this is what I wanted to say since we found each other, guys. Because we basically live on Telegram. You can find us there practically, I would not say 24/7 because we need to sleep as well some hours during the day.
I don't sleep.
Yeah, you're gonna find us there. So it's the best way to stay connected. I can hear some little noise like a microphone or something.
Yeah, there's I think there's two computers that the cube isn't using, but it's fine. We're almost done. After the call, I would love Lambis, Dimitris, and Stavros to stay a little bit more in the call. I would like to have a very quick meeting afterwards.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
Sure. Okay, so happy Easter to all of you that are celebrating it. Stay inside, stay safe with your families, protect the others around you, and keep learning and educating those around you on cryptos and open decentralized technologies, because we are the internet in the 80s. It might sound cliche, but we really are. And the best is yet to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll end off the video now. And the live stream was good, and we'll talk again.
Great.
Yianis,